Here's something you may not know about ChatGPT and similar AI tools that generate AI content. If there's key information missing from your prompt, AI makes assumptions to fill in the missing pieces, or what it sees as data gaps. Those filler assumptions are generally what leads to generic cookie-cutter content. You may not even realize it's happening. You just know something is off with the content. The good news is there's a way to fix this issue and create better AI content that actually connects with your audience. You can do this by building simple workflows, so you can start using AI tools like ChatGPT to produce much more effective content for your marketing projects. Let's look at how this works. We start with your customer avatar to help AI understand as much as possible about your target audience. This includes key information such as pain points and mindset. What motivates your target audience? What challenges do they face? The idea is to go beyond basic demographics here to looking at behavioral segmentation. Then we move to brand alignment with your brand compass. This is how your brand feels. Voice, tone, values, and positioning. Our goal here is consistency, but even more important, the brand compass helps AI better understand your brand personality, which helps reduce that hated generic AI content we see. Next, you need a better way to communicate these details to ChatGPT, and that's exactly what the Creative Brief prompting system is designed to do. Much like a creative brief that marketing teams use to complete their own projects, this prompting system will help AI understand exactly what you're trying to achieve, your objective, key benefit messages, product offers, call to action. It will help you provide the right information without all the guesswork. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Add the customer avatar and brand compass to this brief, and you have what I call the super brief. We're talking about one reusable AI content workflow for all of your marketing projects. And the best part, your unique brand voice, personality, target audience, key messages, it's all built right into the workflow to ensure brand alignment. So every post, every email blast, video script, blog article you generate is consistent and more likely to connect with your audience. Stick around for the rest of the course and I'll show you how to use the brand compass and the Creative Brief prompting system to get much better results for your AI marketing content. Don't forget to download the free workflow templates in the description below, including the customer avatar template, which is your secret sauce to generating AI content that actually connects with your customers. Building a brand compass. Think of this as your one-page guide to consistent branding. It's a quick reference page that defines your mission, your core values, your audience, and your brand personality. And here's the best part. Once you've built your brand compass, you can share it with ChatGPT or any AI tool. That way, every piece of written content or visual project generated by AI will feel more authentic, like your brand, instead of generic. By the way, I attached a guide in the project description area that you can download and use to help create your brand compass. It also includes an example that you can reference so you can see what a finished guide looks like. So how do you build your own brand compass? It starts with defining your brand foundation, which consists of 4 key elements: your brand mission, core values, key customers, and brand personality. Let's start with your brand mission. Think of the brand mission as the North Star of your brand. You might also call it your brand purpose. It describes why your brand exists at its core, from the customer's point of view, the value you bring to your audience. Students often ask me, what's the difference between a brand mission and a brand statement? Great question. A mission statement is usually a more structured, detailed version of what the company does, how it does it, often with an emphasis more on its business strategy, where the brand mission shares the company's purpose in a more emotional and relatable way. It's often shorter and more inspiring. Here's an example of IKEA's brand mission: to create a better everyday life for many people. In comparison to the mission statement, which says, offer a wide range of well-designed functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. You can see it is much longer and more specific. In fact, IKEA calls it the business idea, but it's the mission statement. Companies don't always label it as a mission statement. Okay, the next element of your brand foundation are your core values. What principles guide your brand specifically? Let's go back to the IKEA example. Some of their core values include togetherness, renewing and improving, being different with a meaning, simplicity, give and take responsibility, and they describe each of these on their website if you want to check it out to see an example of core values being applied to a real brand. So the core values should be simple and action-oriented in support of the brand mission. Next is your target audience. As I mentioned earlier, giving a detailed description of your target audience is super important to help AI tools like ChatGPT generate better results. So for this section, you can refer back to the prompt I gave you earlier to help you create a customer persona. So this will go beyond demographics and also list psychographics. What are psychographics? It's a little reminder. These are your customers' interests, their hobbies, their lifestyle, values, their beliefs. Here's a side-by-side comparison. For example, the demographics listed on the left include income, such as earning $200,000 per year, female, 36 years old, medical professional. These are demographics. Whereas the psychographics are on the right, and they show that she is an NBA fan. She's a good saver. She enjoys island vacations, is a dog lover, and family is important. See the difference? So the last part of your brand foundation is your brand personality. And this is always fun. If your brand were a person, how would you describe its tone and style? Think of your favorite brand. Well, let's take Nike, for example. If Nike were a person, how might we describe its personality? Bold and confident, because it speaks with authority and inspires action. How about motivational? It's always pushing you to believe in yourself and achieve more. Energetic and dynamic, so it's fast-moving, exciting, forward-thinking. So personality drives tone. So Nike doesn't sound corporate or cautious. It sounds like a coach, like a cheerleader, like a teammate, all rolled into one. And it's memorable because it feels human and authentic. So defining this helps AI tools like ChatGPT better understand your brand and as a result, more likely to create content that feels consistent and authentic. After you create the foundation for your brand compass, the next step is to create your messaging anchors. This includes 3 parts: your voice and tone, style guidelines, and key phrases or themes. So let's start with voice and tone. Here you'll write 3 example sentences that clearly reflect your brand's tone. The goal here is for ChatGPT to train its tone of voice on these examples for your projects. So think of these sentences like test driving your brand's personality. If you submitted these phrases to ChatGPT, could it clearly mimic your brand voice? The easiest way to know is to test it out and refine it until you're happy with the result. Then it becomes part of the brand compass moving forward. Let's look at an example phrase for a wellness coach. It could be, we believe self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. You don't have to do everything all at once. Small steps create lasting change. So you can see how the brand sounds nurturing, encouraging, and reassuring, all which reflect its caring personality. Next are your style guidelines. This is where you can guide AI with simple do's and don'ts for your brand. Let's go back to the IKEA example. A style guide for IKEA might look something like this. Use plain, everyday language that's easy to understand. Focus on affordability and accessibility. Highlight functionality as much as style. Be warm and playful where appropriate. IKEA doesn't take itself too seriously. Do these guidelines feel like the IKEA you know? Definitely. Now, what should be avoided with the IKEA brand? Avoid overly technical or design snob language. I love that. Keeping with the simplicity of the brand. Don't use jargon or complex terminology. Don't position the brand as luxury or exclusive. IKEA is for the many, not the few. So notice how IKEA's guidelines aren't just about what to say, but how to say it. They use friendly language, they focus on real life solutions, and they avoid anything that feels elite. And that's what keeps their global brand voice consistent, whether it's a catalog, an Instagram post, or in-store signage. Key phrases or themes. Here you'll write 3 to 5 phrases, words, or taglines that align with your brand identity. Going back to IKEA, some of the key phrases could be for the many, not the few. Create a better everyday life. Design that's affordable, functional, and stylish. These phrases reinforce IKEA's accessibility and everyday usefulness. Okay, moving on to step 3. This is where you'll organize your brand elements into that final brand compass document. Feel free to use the template and guide I provided in the project description. You can also take a look at the example I provided at the end of the guide to give you some ideas for writing the brand foundation and messaging anchors. And after that, finally, when your brand compass is complete, it's time to test it out with ChatGPT or your favorite AI tool. Now, the great thing about completing this project is you'll have a brand compass that you can use over and over again with any AI tool to make your brand voice more consistent, more authentic, and memorable. Taking time up front to create this guide will save you a ton of time in the long run with less editing and better results. You know you need to differentiate your business in every way possible, right? The same is true for your content. And as smart as AI is at this point in time, it doesn't know anything about your target audience, your brand, your goals. You know you need to guide it with very detailed and specific marketing prompts. You've been trying. Maybe it's not working well. How do you do this? That leads us to the secret formula that most marketers know about and are already using to get better results from AI. And it's called the creative brief prompting technique. And I'm going to walk you through each step to help you develop your own personalized creative brief template for ChatGPT. Remember to pair it with the customer avatar profile and the brand compass as part of my AI content alignment system. This is your secret weapon for polished, on brand, consistent, and persuasive AI content. And as a bonus, I've provided the template in the description below for you to download and use as a guide. Keep in mind too, as we go through this process, your goal is to build a template that you can use over and over again, just changing a few project items each time. So you not only get better results from ChatGPT, it saves you time in the long run. Isn't that the point of all of this? To be more efficient and more productive? I don't know about you, but I could use a little more time. So let's take a quick look at what a creative brief is and why it works so well to help you get better results from your AI marketing content. Now, if you have a background in marketing, you're already familiar with the creative brief. And the idea is to keep everyone in a marketing team aligned and focused. But today, it's just as useful when you're working solo and you're using AI tools like ChatGPT to generate content or other marketing projects. So think of it as a roadmap that guides writers and designers, and now AI tools. At its core, a creative brief answers these questions. What are we trying to achieve? Who are we speaking to? What's the key message or offer? How should it sound? Where will it appear? Ultimately, this approach to prompting works because it blends structure with creativity, and AI loves structure. It thrives on it, in fact. So we align our content creation with our marketing objectives and our brand voice. All of this helps reduce that cookie cutter effect I mentioned earlier, giving AI a better guide so that it will give you better results. Now, let's walk through an example. Just like with any new marketing project, you want to define the objective. What do we want to achieve? Do we want to generate leads? Do we want to drive signups? Do we want to increase awareness? So here's the objective for our business coach example. She wants to drive signups for a free live webinar about how to grow a coaching business using systems and automation. The second section's target audience is probably the most important detail you will provide in this brief. I would encourage you to provide as much detail as possible for your target audience. Go beyond age and demographics to describe pain points, mindset, any relevant lifestyle traits. By the way, if you created a customer avatar in my earlier activity lesson, then you're already done with this part. Just plug in that detailed avatar profile into this section of the template for a complete and accurate picture of your unique target audience. Here's the example. See how there is a combination of demographic, psychographic, and behavioral traits listed here? Independent business and life coaches, mostly women aged 30 to 55. They're great at working with clients, but struggle with lead generation and time management. So that's the pain point there. And you could get much more detailed here, and that will only make your results better. Next, what's the single most important thing we want to communicate here? What's the benefit message? How does it answer that famous marketing question, what's in it for me? So key message for our coach example here, you don't need to work harder, you just need a better system. Tone and voice. This may seem like an obvious step, but it's actually a very important step in ensuring brand continuity between channels and formats. I teach a graduate level integrated marketing course, and one of the key principles is brand alignment. It starts with your brand voice. So take some time here to think this through. You can also share examples with ChatGPT of past content like your website. Use that as an example of the brand voice you would like to maintain. So for our example here, the tone and voice is supportive, empowering, and clear. Think friendly coach meets practical strategist. By the way, if you already completed the brand compass from one of my other lessons, you can simply add it here. Combining your brand compass with this creative brief is a powerful tool for generating compelling AI content that speaks directly to your target audience in your unique brand voice. Next, give a detailed description of what you're promoting. This is another opportunity to emphasize key benefits and your unique selling points. In our example, you can see that it talks about how the system equals freedom. Freedom is definitely a key benefit word, especially for this target audience. And simple is always a good benefit. And it also mentions 3 known pain points for coaches that they can help with: lead generation, client onboarding, and recurring tasks. Next, of course, we want a strong call to action. What should the audience do next? Sign up, buy now, schedule a call. In this case, we're asking the audience to reserve your spot for the free live webinar now. Again, this seems obvious, but we can miss these little important details when we write prompts in a hurry without a template. So this is like a checklist. Next is the platform or format. What's important here is to be as specific as possible. In other words, if your brief is for social media posts, go beyond the broad social media format to actually specify Instagram or LinkedIn or X. And why is this important? Because ChatGPT can tailor the content to the user profile of a specific social media platform. Again, this will simply give you better results. One other note here. If you anticipate having more than one platform for this project, like a campaign, you can describe that here so ChatGPT understands this is a multi-channel project. And in this case, we're keeping it simple with just an email. So I ran the vague prompt through ChatGPT. It was something like write an email promoting a webinar for coaches. And here's what it came back with. Don't miss this webinar. Learn how to grow your coaching business. Nothing wrong with this, but nothing special either. And you can pause here in the video to get a better look at all the text. I know the text is hard to see on the screen there, but here's why it falls flat. It's generic, it's uninspiring, right? There's no clear target audience addressed here at all. There's no emotional hook or value proposition. And honestly, it sounds like 1,000 other emails. Then I ran it through with the creative brief prompt we just walked through. And right away, you see a better subject line. Tired of hustling? Discover the new system that sets you free. Coaches, stop doing it all yourself. And then the first paragraph resonates really well with the target audience. You didn't become a coach to spend your days buried in admin work, chasing leads, or feeling burned out. There's a smarter way to grow, and it doesn't involve working more hours. And so this speaks directly to the pain points of overwhelmed coaches. It has a very strong emotional and practical hook and a clear, confident tone that matches the audience. And it also highlights the benefits, not just the features. And why is that important? Well, because benefits tell your audience what's in it for me, right? What's in it for me? That's important. That's different than the feature. It's a benefit message. And then it ends with a compelling call to action. Let's build a business that works for you, not the other way around. Much stronger message, much more persuasive, much more compelling. Keep in mind, you wouldn't want to spend this much effort on a prompt every time, right? That's why the creative brief template works so well. Most of it can be used over and over again, and you actually save time in the long run. But most importantly, you get much better results from ChatGPT with less reworking and editing at the end. Remember to pair it with the customer avatar profile and the brand compass as part of my AI content alignment system. This is your secret weapon for polished, on brand, consistent, and persuasive AI content. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for that next video.